You have looked at Jupiter your entire life, without really knowing what you were looking at. On a clear night, it can appear as nothing more than a bright point of light. It doesn't twinkle like a distant star. It just hangs there, bright, steady, almost motionless. But that tiny point is actually the largest planet in our solar system. Jupiter is so enormous that all the other planets combined could fit inside it, with room to spare. And beneath those beautiful bands of clouds is a world unlike anything on Earth, because Jupiter has no solid surface, no ground to stand on, no ocean shore, no place to land, just layers of atmosphere becoming denser, pressure becoming stronger, and temperatures climbing higher as you descend. But in 1995, humanity sent a machine into that darkness. It was called the Galileo atmospheric probe. Its mission was simple: enter Jupiter, collect as much information as possible, and keep transmitting until the planet destroyed it. It survived for about 58 minutes, and in those few minutes, it discovered that Jupiter was even stranger than scientists expected. So imagine you're inside that probe right now, falling into Jupiter. This is what those final 58 minutes looked like. NASA launched the Galileo spacecraft on October 18, 1989, beginning a long journey toward Jupiter. The atmospheric probe was released from Galileo on July 13, 1995. Then, on December 7, 1995, it reached Jupiter, and it wasn't approaching gently. The probe slammed into the upper atmosphere at approximately 106,000 miles per hour. That speed is difficult to imagine. The probe was moving fast enough to cross the United States in only a few minutes. A massive shock wave formed around it. Its heat shield reached temperatures of roughly 16,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and the probe experienced deceleration forces of more than 200 times Earth's gravity. A human being would never survive those forces, but Galileo did. For a moment, the spacecraft was fighting its way through one of the most violent atmospheric entries ever attempted. Then the parachute deployed, the heat shield separated, and the probe began descending. This is where Jupiter becomes difficult to understand. Because the probe wasn't falling toward a solid surface. There wasn't one. Jupiter is a gas giant. As you travel downward, its atmosphere simply becomes thicker and denser. There is no clear line where the atmosphere suddenly ends and the planet begins. The probe descended through clouds made primarily of hydrogen and helium, with compounds such as ammonia and water present in the atmosphere. At first, sunlight still reached it, but deeper down, the light began disappearing. The bright sky became a faint glow. Then the glow faded, and eventually, complete darkness. But darkness wasn't the greatest danger. Pressure was. Every kilometer deeper meant more atmosphere above the probe, more weight, more compression, and more heat. On Earth, we think of air and water as completely different things. Air is something we breathe. Water is something we swim through. There is a clear boundary between them. Inside Jupiter, that familiar distinction gradually disappears. The hydrogen becomes increasingly compressed and dense. The probe isn't falling through ordinary air anymore. It is sinking into a thick, fluid-like environment. And there is still no floor. Jupiter's atmosphere is also filled with powerful winds. Its famous stripes are enormous atmospheric bands, moving around the planet. Some winds on Jupiter can reach more than 300 miles per hour. On Earth, winds that powerful can create catastrophic hurricanes. On Jupiter, these enormous flows are part of the planet's normal atmosphere. There are no mountains to stop them, no continents to break them apart, no solid surface to slow them down. The atmosphere can move across enormous distances in continuous bands, creating storms and jet streams that can last for years or even longer. And Galileo was now inside that system. It was falling through a world where weather isn't something happening above the surface. The weather is the world. Deeper still, the pressure continued climbing. 5 times Earth's atmospheric pressure, 10 times, 20 times. The probe eventually reached approximately 23 times the pressure at Earth's surface. It had descended about 97 miles, or 156 kilometers, into Jupiter's atmosphere. The temperature had also climbed dramatically. The probe was entering conditions far beyond anything a human could survive. And then something extraordinary happened. The signal stopped. There was no impact, no crash into a hidden surface, no dramatic explosion. The probe simply reached the limit of what its equipment could withstand. Its transmitter went silent. But Galileo had already accomplished something no spacecraft had done before. It had sent measurements directly from inside Jupiter. For about 58 minutes, scientists received information about temperature, pressure, wind speeds, atmospheric composition, clouds, and other conditions. And some of those measurements were surprising. One major surprise involved water. Scientists expected Galileo to encounter a more water-rich environment. Instead, the probe entered an unusually dry region of Jupiter's atmosphere. It had descended into what scientists call a hotspot, a region associated with sinking, dry air, and reduced cloud cover. That didn't mean Jupiter had little water. It meant Galileo had entered an unusual part of the atmosphere. And that discovery revealed something important. Jupiter's atmosphere isn't uniform. Different regions can behave very differently. The probe also detected powerful winds and turbulence, giving scientists their first direct measurements from inside a giant planet. Then, after less than an hour, silence. But what happened to Galileo after the transmission stopped? It kept falling. And somewhere far below, Jupiter becomes even stranger. Deep inside Jupiter, pressure becomes so extreme that hydrogen transforms into a strange, electrically conducting fluid called liquid metallic hydrogen. This enormous layer is believed to help generate Jupiter's powerful magnetic field, the strongest planetary magnetic field in our solar system. As the planet rotates, this conducting material moves, creating electrical currents and a magnetic field that stretches millions of miles into space. Galileo never reached these depths. Its transmission stopped at about 23 atmospheres of pressure, while deeper inside, pressures and temperatures rise to unimaginable levels. Scientists can only study these regions indirectly through gravity measurements, magnetic field data, atmospheric observations, laboratory experiments, and missions like NASA's Juno. Galileo was built to fall, not return. For roughly 58 minutes, it transmitted data while descending into Jupiter. Then the signal disappeared. The probe continued sinking until the immense heat and pressure destroyed it, dispersing its remains into the atmosphere. There was no crash site, no crater, and no surface to mark its final location. Galileo simply became part of Jupiter. But its brief mission changed our understanding of giant planets, revealing powerful winds, unexpected atmospheric conditions, and the first direct measurements from inside Jupiter's atmosphere. Today, Jupiter is still there. Its clouds move, its storms rage, and deep beneath them, its metallic hydrogen continues generating a powerful magnetic field. It has been doing this for billions of years, long before humans, long before life appeared on Earth. And it will continue long after we are gone. That is the scale of Jupiter. Earth feels enormous to us, but beside Jupiter, it is tiny. And unlike Earth, Jupiter has no solid ground. The deeper you descend, the greater the pressure, heat, and density become, until the planet destroys anything trying to reach its depths. That is why Galileo's 58 minutes matter. For the first time, humanity wasn't simply observing Jupiter from afar. We were inside it, measuring its atmosphere, winds, temperature, and pressure, until the planet finally swallowed the probe. The spacecraft disappeared, but its data survived. We got 58 minutes. Jupiter got the rest. And that's what makes this world so incredible. When you look up at that bright point in the night sky, remember, you're not looking at a star. You're looking at a world so enormous that you could fall into it for nearly an hour and never reach the ground, because there isn't one. If you enjoyed this journey into Jupiter, Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more incredible stories from space.